Hey there! Welcome back to the Metro Icon Podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Kay the Showman, with Mojo on the lap, hanging out. And we are getting right into a little bit of a hiatus. That's right. A lot of unprecedented things that didn't allow us to really be able to put out an episode last week. And we are trying to play a little bit of a catch-up. Mojo's getting big. He's about 30 pounds now. So things are looking up. But thank you guys for tuning in, and this is going to be a fun one. Before we get into that, hopefully you guys are checking me out on the platforms. You can go to my website, www.theshowman.live, or go to my Instagram, @Shawn Kay Do It All. A lot of fun, exciting things that are happening all through the week and upcoming shows that are coming through that you can get updates on. Like every single week, we do bingo karaoke, both on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where Tuesdays, it is at the Library Bar in downtown Fort Worth from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. And then on Thursdays at Scout inside the Statler Hotel from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. And in case you guys don't know how bingo karaoke works, bingo numbers are called with every karaoke singer that comes up on stage, where anyone playing bingo for free has the chance to win gift cards to the establishment themselves. Oh, Mojo's ready for a nap. I know, but people got to see ya. So hopefully you guys are following me on my platforms and figuring it out and showing up as well. Wednesday, August 14th, which is when this episode will be happening and coming out. Hopefully you guys are checking out the USKA karaoke competition happening that I made to the finals. But there is a one-night qualifier happening at Library Bar. So if you heard this, it probably already happened. But either way, again, check the socials and you'll know what's going on. Other than that, y'all, this is a fun episode because I actually bring in one of my bingo karaoke regulars from the Library Bar, my greatest tipper ever, Jacob Velasquez. All right. And we recorded this episode in the heat of when we did not have no AC. We did not have no AC. We did not have AC. All right. We had no AC for 15 days. And I made Jacob come in a leather jacket because it's hilarious. But it did not go well as far as my recording equipment. Like, it did not try to record at all because apparently my recording equipment cannot stand the heat any more than anyone else can in Texas. But luckily, we still had one working camera, the wide camera. So very uniquely pressed episode. So go ahead, turn your speakers up. Here's my episode with my greatest tipper, Jacob V.
Oh, this stuff is really fresh.
You could do it all.
You can't.
Do it all, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Metro Icon Podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Kay the Showman of Doitall Entertainment and DIA Media. And you know what we do on this show. We talk about the world of entertainment and media and the icons that live in it. And this guy's not in the world of entertainment and media at all, unless he's in one of my amazing karaoke nights at the Library Bar. And ladies and gentlemen, he is known as the sharpest tipper that has ever come into my life. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special episode with my good friend, Jacob V.
Thank you, Shawn. Thank you.
See this audience that I brought for you? Just for you. Jacob, thank you for coming to my very, very hot household. This AC-deprived place of residence. And we're going to be sweating our asses off, but at least we have a cold glass of Evan Williams honey bourbon. Can't we? There we go.
My short ass over here.
There we go. Sip it up.
I like it, actually. Surprised.
You like it, and you even said that you're not an old-fashioned guy.
No,
But this is delicious, ain't it?
it's like a caramel almost to it.
There is a caramel. There's an orange liqueur and coloring. Bring that mic nice and close to your mouth. Readjust. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So, Jacob, thank you for making the trip all the way from Fort Worth.
Yep.
Coming out here to Frisco, Texas, in the new abode that we just moved in. And I wish these circumstances could be more comfortable. And I did state that you had to bring the leather jacket.
I did.
Because the story behind here with this leather jacket is the fact that you came for a bingo karaoke night wearing this,
Yep.
and it was a hot one. Like it felt like right now. I think.
Yeah, that night was miserable. I
Yeah,
remember.
and then I was like, well, now you have to perform with that jacket every single time you come up on stage, and you're like, damn it, fine. And that's why I love you, Jacob, because it's like I've thrown so much comedic challenges at you, just almost for my own sheer entertainment, and you would just follow the mark. You're just like, all right. If he says it, I got to do it.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, there's no harm, no foul in those things. I think it's fun. I mean, the whole point of it, why I come out to the Tuesday nights, you make it entertaining. Like you said,
You hear that shit? I make it entertaining. That's right. Recognize.
no, it's fun. I'm trying to have a good time. I don't really like. My profession is a teacher, so I'm very much strict rules. Here's what to do. I need you to do this, this, and this. I'm constantly babysitting and being the adult in the room.
Yeah.
This is the time I don't have to.
Yeah,
be
you
I
don't
can
have
act-
to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
you
don't
can
like-
let it loose and give. And the fact that you are a teacher, what you teach, what grades?
So I've taught this is my 8th year teaching. I did middle school for 4 years, 7th and 8th grade, and I've been doing high school for the last 3. This is my 4th year in high school, and I'm doing freshman currently.
Oh shit. Okay. Do you what's more difficult, like middle school or high school? Do you think?
Oh, middle school.
Yeah, middle
by
school,
far,
100%,
like,
right?
it's-
I fucking hate middle school. Like, I think middle school is like pointlessly stupid. Like, in a sense, like I get you have to have interim grades, but it's like to have its own branch of school between like elementary. You might as well keep it elementary. I would say.
I would say no, just from
Really?
It's the hormones. It's just that development growth of coming from childhood to adulthood, and that balance where they just don't know how to regulate them. The biggest problem that I had with middle school is just you get across the board with public school. It's not the kids themselves. It's just the number of kids you have to deal with.
Yeah.
You have a classroom of 30 preteens.
Yeah.
Like dealing with all their different emotions, their needs, and their concerns. You can't get them individually, and so they lash out. And so that's why people like, if I want attention, I have to lash out. And that's what you get in those things. And it becomes less teaching focus and more, can you control
Right.
the crowd? Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. So, I mean, in a sense, it's like I think that's the beauty of what this relationship or what this episode's going to be is that finding the similarities and common ground in our like not opposing, but like our different games that we're in, right?
Yeah.
And you have to manage the crowds that you have, but you are leading more with a form of education and having them like not only respect you, taking the information, but also like guide them to essentially do what you want them to do. And that's what I do on my nights.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm entertaining, it's like I'm trying to get the crowd to do what I need them to do, right? Which is not an easy game, but I can't imagine what it's like. Because I started in the bar and bat mitzvah game when I started doing entertainment. So I was dealing with 12, 13-year-old kids, and my strategy though was always like, all right, which one is the alpha?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to do that whenever you're like in your classrooms and stuff?
There are times, it depends on the class, the environment where you're at, where you do need to know who is the lead or whoever has the most clout or sway or pull, whatever it is the kids call it these days too.
Yeah.
Constantly relearning lingo too for the same things over and over again.
How do you do? Use a TikTok? Do you use TikTok?
Hell no. My goal is I roast them and make anything cringeworthy
Boom.
that they like.
Yeah.
And I just like, no, I'm gonna make it. You want to make it cool? I'll make it look cool, and then you don't think it's cool. And I don't have to worry about it again.
Yeah.
So, or I just do things like my kids constantly with like this last year, Fortnite, over and over
Especially
again.
freshmen, right?
Yes. Oh my God, there's so much middle school mentality. You're just trying to clip it. I'm just like, nope, done, move on.
Yeah.
Not dealing with this anymore. Some of them grow, some of them take a time to do it. Usually those first 2 years of high school, it's a little rough because they still have that middle school mentality. Once that summer between sophomore and junior years when they usually click and they find like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And that's what we see across the board, at least in my school. But yeah, you do have to recognize like who the alpha is sometimes and just like, okay, am I going to befriend you? Are we going to try to make it neutral? Or or do we need to butt heads and I need to put you in your place?
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
just
yeah.
depends on the kid or what the environment is, and yeah.
I love the way that you're speaking right now, dude. It's just like you're such a free flowing, like you get along with everybody. You know, that's one thing I've noticed. Like you've made friends at Library Bar, even in just random company or people who come in. You know what I mean? Like they grab to you. It also helps the fact that like I over highlight you at the Library Bar.
It's become a lot more.
Yeah. And I make you be like this big character that's inside Library Bar. But it is dope to hear you in these like working elements of like commanding attention and having to direct your strategy and being able to like, you know, capitalize in the situation that's in front of you. You know, are you originally from Fort Worth?
I'm born and raised, yeah.
Born and raised from Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Never lived anywhere else.
I did live somewhere for 4 years. I went to college here,
Right.
TCU, but for 4 years I was in high school in New Hampshire. So yes,
Why?
got a scholarship for a boarding school. And
Oh.
I was like, I was a very rebellious like teenager, like
Really?
butted heads with my mom. I was very stubborn, obnoxious. Like I've learned to become a people's person.
Yeah.
because I learned to shut the fuck up pretty much.
I have
But-
to learn that every day. Every day, dude. To learn how to like just stop talking and listen, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I have to tell myself. But okay, so you got a scholarship. Was it because of your badassery that you got the scholarship? Like,
I've academics. I've always
Oh.
I've always been.
so you were a rebel, but you were just like,
My rebellion wasn't really to authority. Like for the most part, it was just more like within the household. Me and my mom, very like her way or the highway. I'm like, yeah, but your way's dumb. I'm a teenager, of course. I don't know that much, but even then, I was just like, me and my mom's always a relationship of like she's treated me like adult because I'm the oldest child. So
okay. Of how many siblings? Okay.
So yeah, I'm the oldest of 3.
Okay.
So I've always been treated with like the adult mentality. So I was like, well, if you treat me like adult, I'm gonna speak like an adult.
Yeah.
And so it was always that clash. You're like, well, no, I'm the adult. I'm like, choose.
Yeah. And you mentioned your relationship with your mom. What's your relationship with your dad?
I love my dad. He's always just been a very passive person. Like, you know, like
So your mom's always been the one that kind of ran the household.
she's the tiger mom. Like,
Yeah.
very much. She lost scholarship opportunities because of language barriers growing up here in Fort Worth, and she always made
And
sure-
your family's from Mexico.
So this gets even confusing. My grandparents were all born here in the States.
Okay.
My great grandparents is where like we've traced on my dad's side, going back to 7th generation American.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So your family's been
Yes, for
Yeah.
the most part, integrated and the whole things. But once again, they were still crossing the border, flip-flopping because it didn't matter back in the days. So they like born here, raised their economics got bad, moved back down to Mexico. They always had like a farm or ranch, so families moved back and forth. So my mom's parents grew up speaking nothing but Spanish. My dad's parents spoke nothing but English. And it was just different dichotomies or whatever you want to say it. But so she got denied because of language barriers, and she said, nope, my kids are going to graduate college. They're going to do the one thing I didn't do. And so she always pushed us academics and things. That's why the boarding school thing happened too. So
Okay. Well, I mean, how was that experience being in boarding school? I can't even imagine.
it was one of the most fundamental parts of my life. Like, I still keep in touch with
So it was
my high school
impactful
friends.
in a positive way?
Yes. Oh, very positive.
Okay.
Like, my greatest connections, my greatest academic years, even college. I don't even compare. Like, college was fine and everything. I was working most of the time during college, doing
wow.
internships, where, like, to me, when I was in college, academics was second. And I still maintained a high GPA without really focusing. I was, doing fraternity stuff. I was doing internships. I was working on campaigns, a bunch of different things. So
Campaigns you were in?
I'm a poli-sci major.
Oh,
I'm
no
I'm
way.
not even an education major. Like,
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
I've just been teaching since I graduated because
Were you trying to get on the ballot? Are you going to become the next president, Jacob?
people ask me that all the time that know me and know my background. They're like, why the fuck are you not running it? I'm like, 1, money,
Yeah.
and 2, I mean, we talked about yesterday in the news. It's so volatile right now.
Yeah,
this is
dude.
not what I'm saying.
Yesterday the news, and what he's talking about is the fact that Trump got shots, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it is such an insane time that the fact that happen. Now the funny thing is that not funny, but like the interesting thing is that they were saying that he got shot in the ear, and because he was bleeding out his like right ear or whatever from the top of his ear, and so they said that a bullet went by. But I guess sources were saying that from when he went down, he cut his ear on the glass of like the podium, and so that's why his ear was bleeding.
I've watched that film over and over again. There's so many things I have questions about that.
But what's interesting though is that he did go like this. He touched his ear.
It looked like from my angle, we kept on looking at it. I do think he got shot. Like I don't think there's, from me in my opinion, now he might have like aggravated the wound more by like falling down or whatnot. But I do think the sniper hit.
It's so insane, and it's like some 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
That got shot and killed by Secret Service. Yeah. But I'm just like, the fact that like, when was the last time there was even like an assassination attempt, right? Everyone thought it was going to happen when Obama was president. Right. And it never did, right? But like the fact that, this is going to drive his numbers now.
Oh, yeah, no, like I'm following social media and everything, and it was like, oh yeah, no, he won. The fact that he has an album cover pretty much with the image that they took of him just raising the fist,
blood on his face.
It's such an iconic moment. Like that's going to go down in like Time magazine. Like that will be a history book moment eventually one of the days.
Yeah,
talking about that because of just how iconic that photo was. It's just one of those things. But after watching the Biden performance and everything. Yeah, you're looking at probably a second Trump president.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and when he becomes president, all of everything is impeachment and all that. It's gonna be thrown out the window anyway. And that's why when it was funny, like Trump was impeached. I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, what does impeachment really mean? They can still pretty much do everything else that they were able to do before, and he was still pretty much in office and able to finish out his term. Anyway, so I'm like, what does his term even mean? It's like he's still peached. I don't know what it is,
or orange if you want to go.
Congrats to Trump, I guess. This is his marker, and he's going down in the record books. But whichever case, Jacob. So you were born and raised in Fort Worth.
Yep.
Oldest of 3 siblings. Pretty fairly tougher household. I guess you had more responsibilities on your card in hand. Is that why you feel like you are? I feel like you're a type of person that is very adamant on taking care of your surroundings. You always really care about making sure that people around you are happy and having a good time. Yeah. Do you equate that to like the role of being the oldest in your family?
I don't think so necessarily. That one I would equate the fact that as a kid I just bounced around a lot from schools. I never stayed in a school. Like my mom went me through like 6-7 different preschools going like just started.
Why?
She never liked some of them. She thought other things like she cared more about was I getting the best attention and was I getting the best education, and she kept on looking until she found something like that. And then from that moment, and then I went to local Fort Worth, Trinity Valley, which is a private school, for 2 years, kindergarten and first grade. My sister's 2 years younger than me. They couldn't afford to have both of us there, but to get my sister the best education, they had to pull me to get into the public school because it was a lottery system. But the cheat around it was, well, if you have an older sibling, you get priority.
Okay.
Other things, and so it was easier for me to get into the school than she was. So there was that elementary, and then I switched again in middle school to a whole other school, even though it was a K through 8, because I didn't like the middle school setup, and I was like, no, I want to do something different. And
so then I guess in that sense too, it's also a testament because you had to move around to so many schools. You're constantly having to like make new friends.
Right. Yeah.
So you became very much accustomed to like always being a new face and new energy, and having to adapt to these new surroundings.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I would would be the reason why I'm very good at reading crowds, reading people, and knowing how to like, okay, how do I make friends in certain situations?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and for those looking onto the podcast right now, I call Jacob my sharpest tipper because the samurai sword that sits above my Metro Icon logo. This man took a trip to Japan, and before he left, it's like, hey man, is there anything you want from Japan? And comically, but seriously, I said, I want a ninja sword. And we kind of laughed it off. Jacob went to Japan, comes back, shows up like a week and a half later, and has a box, a long box. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And this man wouldn't even let me pay for it, like I said I would originally. And
I don't remember that ever saying.
I did say,
you want a gift.
I said whatever it is. I remember telling him I'm like whatever it is, dude. Just let me know how much it is. I got you. I mean I know. Well, maybe I didn't say, but like that was always my intention. I'm like whatever it is, like I'm gonna cover the expense because there's the natural effort of bringing anything from out of country. Sometimes is and it's a weapon. You know? So. I don't know what you did, or I guess it ended up working out that you ended up bringing it here. But he got me real Japanese aluminum steel, So I'm forever grateful because I will consider that the greatest tip I've ever gotten, right? I've gotten many different types of cash tips for the services I provided. But no matter what, down in history, no matter what somebody gives me, and you've seen a lot of the arrogance of being like, oh, I'm gonna give you the best, more money than anybody else in here. I'm like, dude, nothing will ever beat Jacob V. You can give me all the money in your fucking wallet, in your account. It still won't be matched to the effort of bringing me a damn ninja sword from Japan. So I love you for that, and I think it's beautiful, and it's funny bringing that home. And I'm like, look, somebody gave me at one of my events. They're like, they give you a sword? So it is such a beautiful gesture. And not just me. You came back with gifts for Chris, for Brenda, which Brenda was like, a keychain? I'm like, God damn it, you're so basic, woman. But she's a sweetheart. And I know she was just like, oh, you don't have to bring me anything. Just bring me back a keychain, I'm sure you wanted to bring her back so much more than
No.
So much more.
Oh, God.
But it's okay. She doesn't watch my podcast, dude. But other than that, man, so you've gone into teaching, and you were a poli-sci major. So what was there actual plans to possibly go really into politics and
once again, I was working my senior year of college. It was 2016. So I was here for the fall 2016 election. My title, I was working for the Republican Party of Texas, and I was actually getting paid full-time, well, part-time, full-time, whatever, I can't even remember, as the Minority Outreach Coordinator for the state of Texas, mainly focusing in the North Texas region. And I originally didn't even want the job. My former boss, she at that time was the chief of staff for the chairman of the state party, and had pretty much asked me, like, hey, we need people to work, because back then, from the Republican standpoint, when Trump was first running in 2016, we were all like, oh my God, we're going to get our asses kicked. We're going to lose all the ground we've made in Texas, like all these seats that we had been working for the last 4 years in politics. There was just general fear and just like, we're not going to win. We're going to cover our costs and, cover our backs and make sure we don't lose the ground that we've lost.
Yeah.
And so that's what I signed up for. It's like, okay, I'm not working for the National Party. I don't have to advocate for Trump or anything like that. And I was just going around talking to people like, hey, this is Republican, conservative values, things like that, whatnot. Come November, that election day, we had all had bottles to like drink our like sorrows away. And then when the results came back, we were just flabbergasted of just the wave of what happened. Like when people tell you like, oh, people knew Trump was gonna, no, people in the party really didn't know shit. They thought it was gonna work. Yeah, it was very much a shock wave throughout everyone, because I remember going from my group of people shocked, going back to the party where people were like just celebrating, those who were like always in the beginning like, yeah, I knew this was happening, and then going back home to my dorm, seeing my roommate who huge Democrat, just like questioning like, oh my God, what the fuck is this gonna mean? What does this mean for us as a minority and things like that? So I saw like the three different ways, and even me for there, I had an opportunity to work in the Trump White House as a communications director.
No way.
And I said no.
Oh way.
I said no because I was like, look, I didn't think he was going to win. I don't believe in the way he chooses to do his politics.
You said this in like the interview, like or
No.
or-
When I was offered, someone told me to like, hey, I have a job, like now here's the interview, everything
Yeah.
to look in and talk to them, and I was just like, look, I did my part here. I'm doing something different, and I immediately signed up for Teach for America, like the day after the election, to become a teacher. Because I was like, I can't get into it, even though it was the perfect time. Like, no, the party's in power. There are a lot of positions. I'm just like, from an ethical standpoint, I couldn't do it.
So it's safe to say that you're not a Trump fan.
No.
Okay.
No.
And,
But like, it's weird because like people like what he does and what he stands for and what he pushes. 90% of it, I'm for.
yeah.
It's just the way he does it. Is the
Yeah.
question is the ends justify the
Right.
means?
It's I guess same with an MC mentality. It's not about what you say, it's about how you say it, you know? And so I can agree with that, right? But overall, and you know, I'm from Chicago, which is a blue state, you know? And so like after Obama, I feel like I just became way more segregated like from politics, just like having to step up. Like, what's the point in so much of it? Or and like the one thing I did look at is that I feel like Trump, for me being a business owner, Trump is actually fighting for you know my position and what I contribute to society or whatever, or just my general benefit. But then I look at, you know, my fiance who's an immigrant and how much that really affected her position in this country. And that's one thing I'm like, well, fuck. I'm like, he actually screwed a lot of shit up for, you know, people that I love, you know? And so it's...
That's the same way mentality I had going through it all, even like when I was approached with the first job working in 2016, because I had stepped back, like, I was supporting other candidates. Like I have photos with me with Jeb Bush during that time.
Old Jebby.
So like it was a very different mentality going into it. And like you said, I've always seen it. Like even now, people something like, "Oh, you're a rhino" or whatnot. I'm like, I'm not more conservative than you think. But at the same time, with my teacher mentality, I'm here to help everyone. The whole point of it is what is best for everyone. I think this is the best way to do it. But to me, the words matter just as much. My problem isn't Trump. It's what he allows other people to bring out. Like the whole political violence of what the gunshots, everything is questioning is, what does this mean for other people?
Right.
When I think of politics and everything, it's a Pandora's box. You want the power, you want to do it. You know it's a way option, but you don't know what's going to be the future or what the consequences are for your one-time decision. And that's me as a history teacher. I'm always keeping like, look at these patterns, because people always tell you, what can we know? Like, when did someone do this? What happened? Well, we can assume from past trends that this allows for this, and this. And then at the end of the day, once you open that box, you can't close it.
Right.
It's there, and it's always going to be say, well, if he did it, why can't I?
That's such a strong position because the value of knowing your history, right? There's such a strong value. It's like I feel like I've talked about this before, but how Germany, right? Like in their educational system, they don't veer off from ignoring the fact that the Holocaust happened. They educate within their sectors of their educational system, saying like, yo, we did this, and we need to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a position that does this again. Right. Because it had such crazy repercussions in such a negative way towards the country, and they really use that as like a platform to shift how they operate forward from there, right? So like, and then here, I feel like our educational system really tries to ignore a lot of the bullshit, right? And that's like, I think also another testament that shows that America is so young. Like, I feel like we are the most immature country in the entire world. Is that, I don't know if you agree to that or not.
England definitely comes in second sometimes, I think. But once again, I think the problem like with England,
when it comes to maturity
of just especially when it comes to like maybe England internally, no. But if you know people you talk about when you travel, like English people going to other places, they feel very arrogant.
Yeah.
And the same type of the
Like
Americans.
there's a little bit of a class system that they feel.
Yes,
when
because of the. And I think for us, one of the biggest reasons why our history is one. It's a good thing is the pride of being American, what that means. But we try to ignore that definition because if you ask anyone what does it mean to be an American, you're going to get 20 different answers. There might be commonalities, but we're such a multi-ethical, multicultural society that it's hard to define what that means.
Right,
At the end of the day, I think most of it means just that. It's that pride in the individualism.
Yeah.
That we can be whoever we want.
Yeah.
But then that conflicts with people who are like, well, what I want is different from what you want.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you-
I mean, because it's I think one thing that's very interesting is that, so I have one of my sister's closest friends. They actually just visited here, like, and so she's from Chicago, and then she married a guy from England, right? And then their oldest daughter spent, I think, the first 4 or 5 years, like, and they were living in England and stuff, and then they moved to Chicago. And then their second child they had in Chicago. But their oldest, had like an English accent or whatever.
Right.
But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, when she was in school in England, like, she was always was part of a very diverse group of kids, right? But in England, it's kind of like there was no like there was no looking glass on like race when she was in schools. Like, it was just kids with other kids, right?
Right.
But when she came to America, like, within the first week, kids were making fun of her accent, saying that she's too dark or her skin's the color of poo, like this type of stuff, right? And all of that is now like now brought to light being in America, and then she changed her accent and now she has more of an American accent, and I think that's one thing that is like, yeah, like, I mean, you say what you want to think about any country and stuff, but I feel like there's such a position of race this, race that, and although some people are like, don't really, it doesn't matter, in that perspective, there's still such a large quantity of people that have these prejudices and certain racist viewpoints.
Right.
Sometimes it's ignorant
Yes.
racist viewpoints, right? They don't even understand the underlying racism of their perception, I guess, and they're kind of, I don't know, like feeding that to kids, and then they take that, and their imagination runs wild.
And it's one of those things I think most people don't understand. Of like, I'm of the viewpoint that race shouldn't matter at all, and you try to avoid it. But you also understand that there's so much things in the background that have influence that you can't separate the two. As much as we want to get to that point where race doesn't matter, we have to acknowledge certain things. But like, as you're going to say, a lot of this, I think, from both sides, what I've noticed, a lot of people confuse ignorance with intention. And on both ways, they confuse ignorance and intention. And the fact that even though we are so diverse, we are still secluded.
Yeah.
We are still very much like isolated in groups and sections within the country where we don't intermingle. And when that intermingling finally happens, it's a point where it's based off of social media, it's based off perceptions and assumptions made from film, television, and things like that. And so the prejudice is the ignorance, where it's not necessarily racist, because that's all they know.
Yeah.
And it's not an intentional.
But
Versus
perception or the viewpoint is not on an equal plane.
Yes.
Yeah.
And once again, and I do hear that, I think the burden is on one group over others of
Right.
multiple times when it should be equal.
Yeah.
But that goes back to like, a lot of people are like, why do I need to know about this if this doesn't affect me? And that's where the pushback comes in. Because
Yeah.
you saw that with like the busing programs in the 70s when people are like, yeah, desegregate the South. And then when they came to the North, people are like, wait a minute, we're not racist.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
You need to do your own work too.
Right. Yeah, you're not. No one there, especially when we all share the same land.
Yeah.
There might be varying strategies of execution on how you treat society. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like certain like societal like standards, I guess you can say, and especially when it comes to dealing like with the melting pot of this new growing diverse like market, it's like there's a lack of education when it comes to trying to understand,
Yes.
you know, and come to a common ground with all these different backgrounds that are now having to, you know, live together, you know. But yeah, you're absolutely right, because I feel like there's such a point in a lot of these northern states where they're like, yeah, no, we're actually we're nothing like the South,
Right.
you know. But I'm like, no, but you have your own ways,
Yes.
you know, in the way you kind of separate,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, I say like look at real estate and how that's handled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like we lived in pretty much Denton County, like Aubrey, Little Elm. That's where we were living, and it was a very diverse. But I mean, you can tell the type of people that were living there, and that's why I was like, yo, I got to get out of here, because not just it wasn't for me. Like myself, I could have very well lived in that area. It was the kids,
Right. Yeah.
being exposed to like racist ass kids. Like I'm talking about like they're what I remember, like, because our house was next to a park, and you know, obviously a lot of these groups of kids would be hanging out, but they'd be like, you know, there's a lot of black kids, very minimal white kids, and it was like I remember this one group of like 7 or 8 kids where it was like all black kids except one white kid, and that white kid would just be dropping N-bombs left and right, and somehow kind of still like ran the crew. It was a weird dynamic. I'm like, yo, you outnumber this white kid like 6-7 to 1, you know, and you just let him speak and run however you want. And then I'm like, for me, I'm just like, yo, these black kids don't even understand like how this kid is talking to him. Is like, this kid comes from a fairly racist household. And then me and Pilar had to like talk to kids like, listen, if you see kids out of like that, understand you can never go in that house, because it's not the kid. That's what he's being taught at home, you know? And so that was one thing, is like, now we're in a much better neighborhood, and they're like, man, it's so quaint, and it's so, you know, nice and quiet, and, you know, it's not as loud, and, you know, you mean, like they feel the energy, and it's just like, man, it matters. It definitely matters where you position yourself in the community that you surround yourself with, you know? How are you feeling, by the way?
I'm fine.
That leather jacket, I don't know. I mean, you're not even sweating. Yeah. I'm in like my American cutoff and everything like that. I'm sweating my ass off. But you also got all that fur on top of your head that's probably preventing
that.
The
No, like I said, born and raised here, I'm so used to the heat's not in. This has been such a mild summer compared to like I remember my middle school days of just like the 100 days of 100 degrees, and I was like, what the like, it was like, what are we doing here?
That's insane.
No, and then I think I've gotten better with like reffing and like just being out there in the heat all the day.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's right. So yeah, talk about a little bit of your side hustles outside of teaching, because I mean, dude, you're a hustler, dude, without a doubt. I mean, I've seen you come in various outfits and uniforms and all that.
Yeah.
But so you ref soccer games.
Ref soccer, yeah.
Okay.
That's always just been a passion of mine. I love the sport. I grew up playing it. My dad coaches. My sister refed with me. My brother refs with me. So we've always
it's a whole family
it's
endeavor.
a whole family coming endeavor. I'm the only one that's kind of really stuck with it for the longest time. Just because it's easy for me as the teacher. I'm like, perfect. Like, it's weekends. I don't have to worry about anything else, because my weekends are free. Might as well do that. I don't have to worry about, oh, do I have to take up this shift? If it's later at night, I still get my sleep time. And then when high school season comes around, well, they're all during school, and they play after school.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm free too. So it's easy for me, and it's exercise, and I just love the game of soccer.
Yeah. My dad
Whatever.
loves. I mean, that's my dad's favorite sport. So you following Copa right now?
I've been following Copa. I've been following the Euros. I've been following it all. USA pissed me off. My
dad went to the game. Actually, my parents
really?
went to the
Bolivia, USA? Oh man.
And so, which was a good game. I think they won 2-0 on that game.
That was nice.
And then is Copa done?
Copa's finishing today. Copa's finishing. Argentina, Colombia play tonight at 7.
Argentina, Colombia. Who do you have?
I already put money on this game too, so that's other hustle. Sports gambling. That's fun. I believe Argentina will get it done, but that's just because I think it's rigged in Argentina's favor. because they want Messi and them to just have that. What
Yeah.
Spain have of winning Copa, winning the World Cup, and then winning Copa again, because that's what the Spain 2010 team did. They won the Euros, won the World Cup, and then they won the Euros, just like the dominant team. But Colombia, man, they're a talented team. They're gonna even run for the money.
I mean, I've been to Colombia twice.
So yeah, I've
Mid-year.
never been.
Dude, it's good.
It's good. I have a friend from high school.
It's a good. South America is a fantastic place for a single man to go. So I definitely encourage you.
Got it. Okay.
Definitely
Put that on my
encourage
list.
you. Yeah, to like go out there because, and especially the fact that like and I guess there's a lot of stigmas that goes to like vacationing in South America, but I think it's only towards like the gringos. You know what I mean? Like the white Americans that they want to take advantage of. But when they see like a tan bro, like they look at a guy like me or you, they think that like, oh, you could be possibly from South America, and then they're like, oh, Americano accent, you know? And so they like, I don't know, have a different form of, I guess, respect or love that they give. And I went to Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, went to Colombia twice, Cancun 5 times, Punta. I mean, like, we've always just gotten mad love, you know, being out there.
My biggest problem, like the only reason why I've never been to Mexico.
What?
Like, okay, because I can't speak Spanish.
Oh yeah.
That's my problem. Like I'm so.
What kind of Mexican are you?
I just know phrases. I can speak, basic things, but I cannot have fluent conversations in Spanish because going back to I told you my background, like family's been in the States for so long. That stigma my parents had growing up where like Spanish is bad, English only. It very much ran over into, me and my siblings' developments. None of us speak Spanish fluently. Like we're here and there. Like my worst class in college, I was trying to be a Spanish minor, dropped it because I was getting like a C in this class of just like speaking.
Oh,
because I couldn't, I can't process it. And so for me, going to those countries, I'm always nervous about because one, they'll look at me like, okay, yes, you
getting like over criticized by your own people,
and things like that. But also at the same time, like they'll try to pull one over on me too, just because like I don't know. I haven't tried. I want to, but I'm gonna probably go with like a group of friends. If I do that type of situation. My funniest story I've ever had. I was interning in DC with my friend in college. She's half white, half black. Looks totally blonde, beautiful curly like Goldilocks curls, like a mane. Me and her were in the subways. This I think she said she was Ecuadorian. Lady came up to me, asked me for directions to the metro. I'm over here looking like, what is she saying? What is she asking me? My friend, she speaks fluent Spanish. Starts responding, giving directions. And this woman was so shocked, just like, what? Looking at me, looking at her, and she was like, and then the other one, she's just like so disappointed in me.
And you're just like, no sé.
No sé.
So. I mean, and I feel the same way because like, what happened to the audio?
Is it?
Did yours cut out?
I can still hear myself.
Oh, I don't know what just happened. I'm hoping that it's still working. I see it's still working. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what happened with my headphones, but my audio just cut out for whatever reason.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, there it is. It's kind of back. I'm having headphones issues. There it is. I don't know what it is, but I'm having infinite issues. There it is. All right. I don't speak my native language either. So, like, whenever I went back to India, which is the last time I went to India was right before I turned 21. And I would say that was the most impactful trip for me. Definitely like was the point where I became a like showman. Like I was like, oh, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Oh, Mojo's here. But I remember, shut up! Stop talking. I know you want to meet Jacob. But you calm down. I'm doing an episode. But like I needed a translator for everything, and my language sounds like a damn pinball machine, and with my dyslexia, like it doesn't help to try and comprehend. But I do empathize with that, like going back home and then being one thing I do remember is like in 7th grade I spent my entire summer in India, and I tried to make friends with the kids, and they just made me feel like the dumbest kid ever. And I'm like, oh, they want to be friends with the American kid,
right?
Nope. Like they were just like, oh, they just treated me like a joke, So whichever case, I get your apprehensions, but I do encourage you that I think you should.
Yeah, no, I need to try because I went to Portugal last year. That was like I had an 8-hour layover in Spain, and that was like, God, this food's great. The people are great. I need to just suck it up and just go. And I need to do that. I have a list of travel places I want to go in, like Mexico, Colombia, like just up and down.
Yeah, dude.
So
Rio de Janeiro, when I went there, it was also Carnival week. And
oh my God.
It was also right before the pandemic.
Oh man, the last good times.
The February, and it was during my 31st birthday or whatever it was. No, sorry, 33rd birthday, and it was like right before the pandemic happened. But let's just say I had the time of my life. February, good time. Go to Rio.
Those are two places I want to go: is Carnival and then Mardi Gras in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, I mean, so insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I went during March. It's just so crazy, and it's just like NOLA's so humid and hot. And speaking of hot, let's go ahead and take a short break. Find matters of cooling. I'll allow you to take off the leather jacket for the second segment. You're fantastic sport, Jacob. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back on Metro Icon Podcast. Make sure you take advantage of all the amazing sponsors that we have, especially in our descriptions. But we'll be right back with my boy, Jacob V. We are back here on the Metro Icon Podcast, and our previously recorded videos through my OBS is not operating in the thing, so we're sticking to just the wide angle. So here we are talking to my man's Jacob V in a first half that what we have done never on this show was go into a whole political rant, but like mentioned off in our break, this was a very enlightening conversation. I think that had a lot of good context to life and general societal situations. So either way, back here, we were talking about what we're going to be doing for the day, and I found out this man is a big D&D'er.
Yes.
Is that a proper way to say it? D&D'er?
I guess I've never heard.
D&D'er.
Campaigners usually.
Campaigners?
Yeah.
How long you been playing Dungeons and Dragons, man?
Started in middle school because I was working. I used to volunteer at my local library, and I won like a prize. Just like beginner set D&D. Started playing with a couple of kids I knew there. Didn't do much after that. Fast forward to college. I'm trying to think, it was high school or college. Yeah, college. Did a little bit there, here and there with a couple of groups. Just we were all so busy. Just we never had time to set aside. Fast forward, pandemic. Get right back into it with a group of friends, and then what really I think started off was not me. Was the fact that my students wanted to start a D&D club at the school. Student led the campaign. I was just the faculty advisor who was there to supervise, played my own character. And then last year, they asked me to DM. And so that's what I did.
What is that?
Be the dungeon master, which is pretty much being like,
okay.
I'm the one who creates the stories. I'm the bad guys, the NPCs, the storyteller, et cetera, et cetera. I'm the one creating the scenes and everything.
Okay, so I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, right? I call it to whatever reason, but like it's just I don't know. I think it's just been I always look at it as like it's such an invested like game where I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna fall off and then I'm gonna become behind, and I just don't want to be that dude that's just like not with it, right?
Yeah.
As you play it for years and years and years, like, is there a progression to your character or story, like
So that's the fun thing about D&D that I like is that you can be whoever and whatever you want to be. You don't have to.
You're not secluded to being the same character every single time. Okay.
Exactly. You change. Most people I know that play it don't ever play the same character again. They try to do a different character or different times, depending on the setting or whatnot. They try different races, different classes, or like I want to be a fighter this time, or I want to be a spellcaster, or I want to be the person to fucking my kids riz up all the fucking NPCs as possible. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But no, it's just a fun thing, and for me, I like it with playing with the students as a teacher. From the teacher standpoint, it teaches kids to think outside the box, critical thinking skills that are not, oh, think about it with writing or things like that, but it helps them with storytelling. It helps them with public speaking. It helps them with math. Sometimes they're just doing quick, arithmetic here on top of your head. But it also teaches them how to deal with conflict. That's not, how do I say it? It's not them, but it's still them. How do I deal with when I disagree with a person, when someone makes me mad or angry? If I'm a person who gets frustrated, how do I learn to deal with those emotions in a sense, a low stakes environment? Because to them, they can be very invested in it, and it becomes high stakes, but at the end of the day, it's a game.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with their consequences and deal with your interactions with your other players for that. For me as an adult, and just everyone know, it's just fun. It's goofy, it's fun, it's something that's enjoyable, that is community based.
Yeah.
Like, I love video games. I love playing video games all the time, but sometimes also you don't see that face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
And it's something that I do miss as a kid growing up, playing tabletop games and board games as kids. That's what we do. And like, we watch Star Trek, eat dinner, and then play like cards or Monopoly or something.
Yeah. No. Okay. So being dungeon master, do you feel like so like who I mean, I guess the whoever is playing, it's like universally like a responsibility given. Like, okay, you're gonna be dungeon master, right?
Right.
I would imagine that role has to be fairly unbiased.
Yes.
Because I can imagine that if you are in control of the story and how it, progresses or whatever, it can be a political position. You know what I mean? Say for example, like there's this one player or campaigner and that you might not be too fond of, and you're, I guess, working the story against his favor,
Right.
or her favor.
So the way I try to do it, I mean, like I said, being the teacher, being in soccer as a referee, I have to learn to put impartiality there, because like the job is there to be impartial. Even with me, like I said, I'm not lying, I do have biases. Everyone does. That's something you can't ignore. But you have to learn to accept those biases and learn, when can I push them aside? When can I use them? Also, when is the appropriate place to do so? Same thing, like I said, running with politics when I used to campaign is like, I'm mostly talking to people who are not going to vote the same way I'm going to vote. How do I reach them on the ground that equals to them? And that's the same thing over and over again. And I like D&D because everything's not guided at the end of the day by me. I might have this great story, but what the heck does the dice roll? It's based off fate and other things that you can't control. And even as the DM, even though you're controlling the story, your story can change based off the characters' interactions. Your story can change based off the dice rolls. It's not, even though you are, I would say, omniscient, you're not omnipotent. Okay?
I'm going to pretend like I know what either
you
of those
know
words.
everything. You know everything.
Sure.
But you're not all powerful.
Oh, okay.
That's the
Yeah,
difference.
fair.
between the
Okay,
two.
okay, that I understand.
Yeah.
So
you still follow. You have to follow the rules set aside.
yeah, okay. That's because I mean I know that in there's such a immersed world. Like there's so many celebrities.
Yes.
That like have very private games, only certain people, and like clubs essentially established to, like where you can meet another campaigner, and but you're not necessarily inviting them to your game,
Right.
and so it is. I feel like a game that can possibly segregate certain campaigners to another.
Yeah, and once again, it also depends. What is the group? What is the mood of the group? Like right now, I have a group that's playing a very like they're all good people. They want to save the world, and I have a group that's I want to fucking murder everyone. I just want to just do chaos. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's fine. But once again, the players in the group are situated to be like, okay, this is what we want, and this is what we want. If I try to split the parties or split those groups or try to merge them, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Because they have different ways of playing or different ideas of the game. I think one of the coolest things I watched getting like back into it, I like said, I like playing with the school. I was like, but I want to do this outside with adults. I want to do
Yeah.
this. So I, Facebook groups and whatnot. I'm like, hey, are there anyone playing? And there's like groups. So the group that I'm currently playing with, we're about almost going into a year now into this campaign. It started off with, hey, we're looking for 2 new people to join our campaign.
Is there like an interview process?
It was literally an interview. It was a
yeah.
one shot, what we call one shots, where it's a 4 or 5 hour game that you play with one. You bring a character, you act it out. There's a beginning and an end. It's gonna finish in that day. And so,
4 or 5 hours, is that like the average time?
So the average time, I think, for most people that play is 3 hours usually.
So, yeah.
It's a 3 to 4 usually. Somewhere
Are there
between
like
2 to 4.
breaks in between?
Yeah, like I said, there's times like we'll take it. Like, depends what the group is. If the story is going strong, where people are just engaged and want to keep on going, we'll play through like the whole 3-4 hours. If there's times where like, hey, let's just take a break. People go go take a smoke, go take a drink, use the restroom, and then usually people like I guess
Especially the middle schoolers are like, I need to
yeah.
smoke.
Oh yeah, for no, for them with the school thing, we only do 2 hours.
Okay.
And even then, I usually have like hour point, take a break, just because sometimes like, hey, we need to cool off or just talk it down, or even me like I've been holding it all day as a teacher. I need to go use the restroom.
Yeah,
so
right.
Type of things, but no, it just depends on the groups and what they want to do, and that's why I think the love of it. There's a world, but even then, you can change the world. You can change the rules to fit however you want it to be, and it's not like a video game where like I want to do this. Well, the video game is only limited by what the creators could do in that moment and make it a permanent. Mm-hmm. Versus this, your imagination can run wild with it. You can do something that a video game would not allow you to do. You can go a route or an option that the video game wouldn't allow you to do.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's very open world in that sense, and I really do like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think it's just like a wild... okay, let me ask you this. How did you feel about the movie?
Oh, so it's really funny because I just got it back into D&D when the movie came out. Mm-hmm. So watching it, I was like, okay, I can see how this is working. Like, there's moments like, that's a natural 1. That's when like a critical failure. That's a natural 20. I was just talking to someone literally last night about the movie because they ended up bringing it up. But one of the coolest things I thought about the movie was showing this as a D&D storyteller from the dungeon master side. How do you storytell something that's called attunement, which is like you got to be close to an item in order to be able to actually use it. You can't just grab the item and it works for you. You have to understand the item. And so one of the main characters in the movie has this helmet that he's trying to learn how to use, and he's constantly fighting. And he kept on seeing these dream sequences where he's talking to the helmet and he's talking to the spirit within the helmet, and there's a conflict going on, and he has to learn to understand it. And that's the best way I've ever seen anyone do attunement in a storytelling platform. So for the most part, I thought the movie was fantastic. It was entertaining. It wasn't like, oh, this and this. Like, you can tell that they made chaos happen. And most D&D games is that, like, you can you make the plan, you follow the plan goes to shit, and you go with another plan. Like, that's what it is.
I will tell you from like somebody who's not familiar with Dungeons and Dragons at all, I thought the movie was hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought it was, or just, I mean, outside of just like its funny nuances, was a great storyline and was very, very entertaining. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, you know what? I get it. And I think the common consensus that I felt from people who play Dungeons and Dragons were overall very happy with the movie. Because you see that like where some sort of, movie creation of a video game or a board game or whatever is created, and they're like, yo, what the fuck is this?
Yes, that's
and so I know I'm sure a lot of campaigners were very worried when this movie came out. They're like, oh, they're going to ruin it. And it ended up coming out pretty good. So, and I'm also, I like a lot of Chris's. As far as Chris actors,
Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, Chris what's Captain
Evans,
America?
Chris Evans, Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt is they're all good.
Yeah,
all good.
But either way, it's I thought it was pretty good. Are you what like so you do your Dungeons and Dragons, you ref your soccer games, an avid karaoke goer?
Yes.
Is karaoke always been kind of like a thing that you just really gravitated to?
I don't know if I ever gravitated to it.
Was library bar kind of like your more karaoke Inception or?
No.
Because you have a large catalog, dude. I feel like you're always doing new songs and stuff. Whenever
I'm
I
always
see you on
trying because I'm just like,
Yeah.
you know what? And then once again, when I fucked up, like that was the terrible. I'm going to tip you.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
you're
yeah.
getting mad at me. I'm always going to be like, that's for your ears. That's for your doctor bills for whatever ears.
For my doctor? No, it's not my doctor. My ears are fine, dude. I've been in this game for a long time, so my ears are all right. No, I always, because, like, I mean, dude, you're so generous. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, my thing is that it like, I don't love you for the fact of what you, like, you know, generously donate to me on my nights, right? And I feel like you always donate to the time that you're having. And that's kind of, I'm like, I can appreciate that. But I mean, again, dude, your presence is more than enough a gift for me. I love it when you show up. I'm always super happy when you do. You see how I highlight you. And I'm like, that's not an accident. You know what I mean? And I don't do it and be like, oh, if I talk up Jacob, he's going to tip me more. I'm like, I could care less.
Right.
You know, and you've seen, like, I don't, you know, most people I'm like, yeah, fucking give me your money and stuff.
Right.
But you're one of the very few people where I'm like, when you do, I'm like, why? You don't need to, you know? And because I'm just happy that you're there, you know? So again, I thank you and I am very much appreciative for it. But again, it's especially after you got me the fucking sword, dude. I'm like, dude, you don't have to tip me ever again.
I'm still going to. It's going to happen.
You son of a bitch.
I know. But no, going back to where it comes from, my family, music has always been, we always like playing music. My mom is, you know, classic Tejano music, and my mom's Tejano, country, R&B, soul, and pop. My dad was very much the old school rock, both rock and roll in the early 50s. So I had a diverse playlist of old classic songs that I listened to. And then, of course, me growing up, I got into hip hop and rap. And then from my parents, like alternative rock from my dad. Like I'm big punk rock, alternative rock. From my mom, pop music, hip hop, rap, and things like that. And so that's really, I've liked it. But my parents, my dad's a terrible singer, but they've always sang. Mm-hmm. They've always just like, we like music, we like to sing along.
Yeah.
We like beats, we like moving, we like dancing. There's just times where, like, you know, typical Mexican family, like, play music, clean up the house.
Yeah.
And that's just what we do. And
Pilar's like that. Yeah. Pilar's very much like that.
So it, like, going up like that. And my mom would always have CDs, and we had that old 5-track disc where, like, it would just rotate and shuffle the songs. So it would be like Disney music for the kids, and then my mom's Brooks and Dunn album, and then her Selena album, my dad's Beatles album, his Pink Floyd, like, it would just rotate through the different music, and we would just sing along and dance and just have fun. And that's always been a thing for my family. Car rides, same thing. Every one person gets a song to choose, and, like, we listen and jam out and we rotate type of situation. But no, first I did choir at school. I was a viola player. I played piano. So music has always been just like a fun thing to do on the side that I've never, like, I'm not trying to be the greatest at it. I'm just trying to enjoy it because I appreciate it.
I think what you're saying is like something actually very profound, because so many people go into like karaoke and they're like, oh, I want to sing, but like, oh, I sound terrible. Or you've seen how I react when they're like, they apologize before they start singing, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up. You know, like, don't ever apologize before you go up on stage and do anything. That's how I always feel that way, because I think the biggest, most people won't even step up on the stage, let alone having to grab a microphone and go, you know, perform, right? So karaoke, and I say it often, it translates two things in Japanese, which is empty orchestra and tone deaf.
Right.
It's not meant for you to be the greatest singer. It's just a bonus if you can.
So I think the first time I really realized that was when, believe it or not, when I went to Japan for the first time in college, because I didn't do karaoke.
Where karaoke is home.
But we went to karaoke, and one of our teachers, like, we're gonna all go do karaoke. He was our instructor that was fluent in Japanese and everything. We went up there and sang this Japanese.
Wait, like
rock.
teachers and students, or just?
So it was a school administrator, a professor, and then a bunch of us college students. And our trip was already a mess because we missed our connecting flight from San Francisco. We got stranded in San Francisco. Flew out the next day to Korea instead. Got stranded in Korea.
Holy
landed
shit!
In Japan.
Korea?
Yeah, landed in Japan as an earthquake was happening, mind you. And then all our luggage was missing.
What?
So, and we were already 3 days late to our conference. We had, like, whatever clothes we had in our small karaoke.
Jesus.
It was a mess of a travel, but still one of my greatest like stories. But like,
And in the midst of all this chaos, this motherfucker still got me a sword.
no, this wasn't this one. This was
This is a different trip.
This was the first time I ever went to
All right,
Japan.
well, I mean,
Sorry.
still, I appreciate it. Go ahead.
No, that would be even a cooler story. No, that's not. But this was when I was in college, and so we had the trip and everything, and our teacher's like, you know what? Let them get sake. Don't say anything. Just type of like let them pay for it, but like we're not gonna say anything. They've gone through hell type of situation. We went to karaoke, great time, but like we were all just
Was
singing.
it private room or public?
Private room.
Okay.
So it was a private room situation.
I feel like in Japan, most of the karaoke would probably be private
room.
Yeah.
Is the idea is like you rent the room and like
It's just your crew that's
type
in
of thing.
there.
And I got back into it because in college also later on, even as an alumni, we're still close. Like when I was younger, there was one of the sororities at TC was an all Asian sorority, and so they were like most of our brothers were like dating their girls and whatnot. And so like let's have an alumni event and everything, and then we went out to little Asia like Carrollton.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
and we rented one of those rooms and did that.
I thought you were talking about a small town in Japan called Little Asia, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I forget what I know. It's Carrollton. I forgot what the
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about. It's
Yeah.
where like the Jen barbecue, and
Yes.
the 99 Ranch. It's
yes,
like that whole
the Kmart,
Yeah.
not H Mart, H Mart.
H Mart. Yeah.
So all that, and so we did that, and that's what really got me back into it. And then there was always a girl, who I did.
Always a girl.
There was always a girl.
Yeah.
There was a girl that I was kind of like, we were close friends at the time. We weren't really seeing each other, but we were just like, hey, we're both in our adults. We're trying to like figure out what this postgraduate life is, figure out life, and we go out and I believe she did. I'm looking at this poster right there. The
Metro Icon?
she did do it.
What? What's her
Yes.
name?
Sapphire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
We don't talk to each other.
Yeah. Okay. But yes, I know
But
exactly
yeah,
what
yeah,
it is.
But yeah, I'm the one who told her to
She's
go
a
do
singer.
that.
She did Fort Worth.
Yes.
She actually did Library Bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
'Cause I told her to come.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I do remember.
Yes.
You know, so there's actually a karaoke happening right now, USKA, which is a national karaoke competition, and it's happening right now, the qualifying rounds. So I don't know if you want to let her know. Oh, actually, no. I think I have her.
I mean, you probably could.
I might
Just
have
like I
an
said,
idea.
I haven't talked to her in forever.
Yeah.
Like, that was her decision, not mine. I'm like, whatever. I'm not gonna.
I'll be doing I registered for Dallas in this Wednesday, so
Yeah.
I'll be going in. I'm like just like gonna step in and see what I can make happen. I'm like, dude, I'm the showman, bro. I better.
You should dominate that.
I mean, I think I'll definitely make it past the first round. I think.
Yes.
I think I'll make it past the first round, but also the fact that like the guy who's now the director for Texas, right? He was a contestant for Metro Icon.
Oh, really? Okay.
And his name is Robert O, and he's another KJ. And so he reached out to me because he wanted me to get involved, and we got Library Bar to do one night. So Chris, is investing to do one qualifying round at the Library Bar. So hopefully, like Sunny,
Yeah.
like you've seen Sunny at
Yes, I
Library
know who
Bar.
Sunny is. I'm trying to think.
the
yes.
one who sings fucking Adele.
Oh my God, she kills it every time.
She is a beast, right? And so I'm like, yo, you have to do it, And so I don't know if they haven't set a date yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be probably like beginning of August that they're going to do their date. But they're doing their qualifying rounds now. So whichever case, I'm going to step into the competition because I just, think that it's aside from talent, right? When it comes to these karaoke competitions, especially in these starting rounds, a lot of it's based on song selection and then also just general likability,
Yeah.
right? The judges and the people got to like you. And that was a big thing and part of my competition, right? Metro Icon was like, due to, like, it's only for a metroplex of cities.
Right.
Right, DFW is the biggest metroplex I think in the country. There's even to Chicago and all that kind of stuff. I mean, dude, there's in DFW alone well over 8 million people,
Yeah.
and there's probably over a dozen cities or towns with over 250,000 people, which 250,000 I think is the marker for a metropolitan city, right? So, like, my thing was to try and hopefully create a thing, but I'm the one that paid and financed that entire fucking endeavor.
Yeah.
including paying the grand prize.
Jeez.
So I was like, if I do this ever again, I'm not paying for it. You know what I mean? Robert O, he was like, dude, I want you involved with this. If you can help me get some venues. So I'm like, all right, I can definitely get you library bar. So I got him that. And he's like, hey, man, you should do the competition. Like, and then, however it is. But then if you create an impact, like they'll, definitely want you to become like an officiate or, judge or whatever. And I'm like, that's what I care more about, But I'm like, yeah, I haven't really competed in a singing competition.
I think you kick ass. So
we'll see what happens. But
I think you bring the sword. You do. I'll make a man out of you again. Like that was one of the most that was one of the most iconic, I think, songs you ever did. Was that
I did Mr. I'll make a man. Yeah. And then it was funny because Chris was like, you better not pull that shit out. And I was like, whoa, just teasing him and shit. He's like, you motherfucker.
No, that was fun. Oh man, that was entertaining.
Many iconic moments that has happened at the library bar, for sure. And it's one of those things where it's kind of like it's tough because it's it's definitely the furthest I drive for a venue, right? But when it comes to working at a bar venue, I have not had the type of relationship with any venue, especially with management and staff, that I've had with the library bar. And the library bar has definitely given a lot of respect where I feel just as vested to the venue, where I've given lights and various things and helped to put certain things together. Right. But I think in the last, my relationship with library bar is from Metro Icon.
Right.
And at that time, Chris was just a bar manager, and there was another general manager. And then in the course of Metro Icon, as it ended, or right after Metro Icon, I would say, then Chris became GM, and he was always there on every single night. He's like, dude, I want you here all the time, you know? And so I've definitely established my value being at that place, and my relationship with Chris is like, he only trusts me to, he's like, if anyone can get the job done, it's me. And even, I'm not perfect by no means. I've fucked up so many times. I have talked some shit, and you probably heard me talk some shit, and I'm very well forgiven for those, you know what I mean? I'm very well forgiven. But another testament to why Tony Stark is my favorite Marvel superhero is that I do my best to not repeat my mistakes. And that is Tony Stark's superpower, if you didn't know.
All right.
Tony Stark never repeats his mistakes.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
No.
No. I know
give me that? That's what it is, Jacob.
Look, I'm just not a Marvel fan.
Oh, you're not a Marvel fan.
DC comics. I grew up DC.
Well, I'll show you this. My chest hair, shape of a Batman logo.
Okay, never mind. You're fine. You're
good. But Batman, in comparison, is it's Tony Stark and Batman.
Yes.
But who would win in a fucking fight?
Batman.
Tony. No, the fuck he wouldn't.
Batman would easily win the fight.
Bro, dog, no.
Batman.
100% no,
Batman.
Dude. All right, we're going to agree to disagree because I love you. I love you. I knew that we were going to have some sort of disagreement in some point of our relationship. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but here we are. Well, how would Batman win?
Preparation. First of all, he would be able to hack into...
Preparation? That's Tony Stark to the T.
Yeah, but Batman goes better. Also, Batman is a lot more low tech than Tony Stark. Tony Stark relies too much more on his tech than Batman does.
But again,
once you eliminate... Once again, as Captain America said, take away the suit, what are you?
Yeah, a philanthropist.
Billionaire playboy.
Billionaire playboy, there we go. But I'm... Okay, all right. I guess to that argument, I can somewhat say the ninja in who Bruce Wayne is, no suit, right? No suit, no amenities, no resources available.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, maybe Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne against Tony Stark.
But here's also the difference. I think most people say
Bruce Wayne against Tony Stark, maybe yes. Okay,
Tony Stark is the true character. Iron Man is his alternate identity. Batman is his true character. Bruce Wayne is his alternate identity.
Yeah. That's also the same dichotomy of Superman. right?
Yes.
Superman is who he is. Clark Kent is his alter ego, right?
Yep.
And so I understand that. I understand that variant perception, right? But if you were to put full superhero to full superhero, it's fucking Iron Man, dog.
All right, everyone, vote in the comments down below.
Yeah, go, yes. Yeah, my four views that are this video is gonna get. Please put in the comments
Who's gonna win?
Who's gonna win?
Batman or Iron Man?
No, I have to figure out how to clip it if I fucking get better at that. But other than that, okay, I'm glad that we found some differential factor in that. Let me ask you this: you were a poli-sci major.
Mm-hmm.
You were looking to get into politics, ended up getting into education. There's a lot of different side hustles and stuff. What was the dream job?
Dream job still today is to run for office. Like, that's always been, even when I was young, I've always...
What's like?
At
What's
this-
the platform where you
I mean,
would?
as a kid, I always thought president. Me being older, wiser, and understanding things, senator. I would love to be in the Senate, represent Texas in the Senate. That would be the dream job.
I think I could see that, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, why not go for the mayor of Fort Worth, dog?
I like our current mayor.
Really?
Yeah, I really
don't know
do.
who it is.
She's great. I have connections. I know things. I'm just, at the same time, I think I need to focus more on myself, and I need to focus on myself more first before I can start representing. I do a decent job as a teacher. I'm not to my own horn, but like, I love it. People like me. People respect me. I'm getting higher like responsibilities within my school, which is great. And as my principal told me, it's because people know when something needs to get done, you'll get it done. And that sort of things. Like, going back to the whole story, like, I told you it was like the joke, but the serious. Like, I believe in ethics. I believe in morals. I believe that my word matters. And if I don't follow through with what my word says, then it doesn't mean anything. Because I don't come from anything. I don't come from money. I don't come from wealth, family, connections, and other things. The only thing that I can prove is through my actions and my words.
Absolutely.
And so I still need to build that up in order to do that. And in today's climate, that's not enough for politics. And
No.
That's just the unfortunate truth of it all.
No, I 1000% see and agree with what you're saying. That being said, what you are doing in the same realm of, I think like I think any politician going into government does, they're trying to create an impact that transcends like for their legacy, but for their environment, and really creates a common good. Does that happen often? Absolutely not. There, I think more agendas being, presented. I think, especially in this day and age, right? But I think in my viewpoint, dude, I feel like you actually are creating way more impact in what you're doing right now than if you were to do it in politics. Because I think in politics, you're shaking so many hands, and sometimes you have to shake this hand to appease this other hand.
Right.
And you have to work the game politically, right? But in order to get a specific agenda, and sometimes in order to have one good agenda, you have to shake the hand of a devil from another agenda.
Yes, it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't know.
Right.
But that's once again going back to like what I said originally.
Back to politics.
But how we got back to it. What my life usually. I can't do that. I know personally, like I could. I've talked to this with me and my roommate. He's
but I feel like you just, man, like
it's my integrity. I couldn't.
You
shake
cannot
the-
face your soul. Like, I think there's certain elements, like even if you, like grassroots, you were to have you follow through to an action or an intention that you don't agree with for some sort of, like, let's call it greater good, right? In the end, it's like your integrity makes it harder for you to be able to face yourself forward.
Yes.
Right? To like the progressions forward, because you're still like essentially like relaying off of something that maybe negatively impacted, maybe a certain group of people or an organization or whatever have you. Like that's such the struggle of what politics. That's why I stay away from it. Right?
Right.
It's like in comedy, you don't talk about religion and politics and like sexual orientation,
Right.
you know, or whatever. But that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I'm more likely to meet a teacher and say thank you for your or a teacher or a nurse and say thank you for your service than meet like a senator and say thank you for your service.
Right. Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying?
No, exactly, and that I understand that, and that's like I said. At the end of the day, it is a dream. I'm very comfortable with what I'm doing right now. That's why a lot of people said there was a time when I was teaching middle school, like right as pandemic hit, I was done. Like I was at a class of like 35 kids, couldn't manage it. I was like at my wits' end. It was very different from what I used to. I just couldn't reach to these kids. I was like, okay, I'm not making the impact. And then
How do I reach these kids?
How do I hate these kids? Fucking love South Park. God, quote that way too much. But I was ready to quit. Like I was just, I couldn't. My mental state wasn't there. For that. Luckily, COVID hit. That's one time I was like, it gave me a break. Separated. It was all online. I'm like, I'm virtual. I don't have to deal with them. But
like, wasn't it hard to like execute? Like I mean, just from the conversations I've had with teachers having to do like virtual classrooms and being able to garner attention and being able to execute lesson plans and whatnot.
I'll be very honest. By that point, I had given up. Like I was like drained.
Given up, like
I didn't give a fuck.
you didn't want to teach no more.
It's not like I didn't want to teach. It's the school I was, the environment I was in, didn't allow me to teach the way that I currently do and currently do teach, where I make lessons, I make intriguing activities, I do things that kids want to know more. Those kids, just be at the school and the environment where it was, did not care.
Yeah.
They were like, you teach history, what the fuck, who cares? It's Texas history. There was no emphasis, there was no support, there was no drive, and I couldn't create that. And so like during that whole time, I said, I can't do this anymore. I was thinking, I took the LSAT. I was ready to go to law school and just like, try something else. Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. So
shit. But I mean, again, I guess life plays the way.
Life plays the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it plays the way it does, and obviously guides you. And you know what? I think this is now testament. Why I love doing this is because when I bring people onto the show, what gets uncovered is, I guess, more substance to why I have such love and respect for this individual, understanding a lot of where you are coming from, it really is solidifying exactly. I'm like, dude, this guy is such a real one, and I'm like, cause yeah, I mean, again, like, and you could have taken the LSATs and then gotten a position as and you'd be making probably a considerable more amount, but you're quantifying where you're putting your time to the impact and where it's going to go.
Exactly.
And I think that is very, very evident. Now, let me ask you this. How long have you been single? You're how old?
And let me think. July, August.
Bro,
October, I'll be 30.
You're a teacher. How long? Why does it have to take this long to fucking?
I was trying to I'm 29, gonna be 30 in like 3 months.
Okay.
So there's that.
Are you? I would say, are you looking forward to becoming 30?
I wasn't at first, but now I'm very much like, okay,
Good.
this is gonna be good.
Good. Very much look forward to it. Like I could not. Well, 30 is when I went bald, right? So that was my big liberation. Like I did a whole thing. My hair was longer, but I had grown it out. Like, I was doing hair treatment and all that kind of stuff, but I shaved my head at 30 out of the sake of just being like, kind of just like reset. I think we kind of talked about it on the break. And then I threw a whole house party, and like I invited my barber, paid him, because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna pay you again, but and then he everyone at the party got to shave a piece off, right? And then he cleaned it up at the end, right? And then as soon as I went bald, everyone was like, already used to it, like this is it, And then I haven't had to buy it or pay for a barber since. And then I just practiced and worked on, my facial hair construction until I found the Shoti, and then have my staple way of shaving. Now I know exactly how to do it, but I don't have to pay for a barber, which is beautiful. Just the time I save, the money I save. It's just it's just insurmountable, right? But I will say though is that I let go of so many things that I was trying to discover in my 20s. So many things that I was like looking for in my 20s. Think answers that I thought I was going to get in my 20s. And then immediately in my 30s is where so many things clicked. So many things were understood. So many things I was able to like come to terms with and like really navigate myself in a way that served my intention, its best purpose.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
So I'm excited. When is your birthday?
October 4th.
October 4th.
It's Friday, I believe.
Is a Friday?
90% sure it's a Friday? I think so.
I have to take a look at my calendar. But if I'm not working, I'm going to tell Chris I have to DJ Friday, October 4th. And I will create a flyer, and it's going to be Jacob's birthday bash at the library bar.
I love it.
Just stating. This episode will probably be released within the next month or so. But just letting you know, Friday, October 4th, we will be celebrating Jacob's birthday. Look, no other venue other than the library bar. And we are going to celebrate this man, Jacob V. Dude, thank you so much for coming through
No
for
problem.
the
Appreciate
podcast. Comically placed to the circumstances of the environment and the lack of AC that's been in this bitch. It's so much so that it didn't even, my video capabilities weren't even able to properly work. Either way, you came through, and I know you'd show up because that's what a true showman does. A showman shows up. And I appreciate you, dude. I appreciate you for who you are, and I appreciate you for what you constantly contribute to my environment. No matter what I'm in, dude, what you contribute to my environment is always pure and like you're one of those individuals where like, man, I work to sometimes only make you laugh. I'm not even fucking kidding you, dude. Sometimes I only operate in a way where it's like, if it makes Jacob laugh, I'm good, you know? So I appreciate you, dude. I sincerely love you, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So, and I knew I was like, this dude, he doesn't need to text me. I'm gonna be late, like fucking comedians and shit that I invite on this show. But you showed up, and I love you for that. So, I'm gonna go ahead and end the podcast, and I know I don't know if you've ever seen any of my episodes. It's okay if you haven't, because
I've seen clips.
Okay,
I've seen clips.
Most people have. All right. So end the show in the same exact way, where I allow my guest to end off with a final sentiment, quote, phrase, whatever it is, to leave off in the world. And sometimes just in the back of your head, think about it if this was possibly going to be the last thing you might say on camera or audio to put out in the world. It is leaved off to the guest. So, ladies and gentlemen, Jacob V, to close out the episode.
Oh, damn,
here we
that's
are.
hard. All right. Shit. Not that. But I would say kind of a combination of my high school's motto. It's a Latin phrase, non sibi, not for oneself. And for me, I think the best thing I've learned is you get the greatest joy in life, not necessarily from doing what you love, but doing so that helps serves others. And that's the greatest joy I've ever found.